really quick. Let's say I'm doing a Mexican theme and I look up chilies, and here I've got a chili right there, and I need to show Miss S I can use a variety of tools. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool, because this one's just a basic shape that I can draw better on a Wacom tablet, but I can also draw it with my mouse. So I'm just going to do like this general outline. I already know I'm not super talented at drawing. It's a little bit of a challenge for me, but it'll be okay. So now it comes right back in. See how it joined together? That's the most important part, is that you have it joined together so it creates its own shape. I'm going to create the little highlight there, and it comes together and it forms one shape. And then there was another little highlight in the reference picture, so I'm going to create the other little highlight, one shape. See, it's one shape. Okay. The shape part is important because that means I can fill it with the color. So I'm going to grab my direct selection tool and just round off that edge a little bit. And I might round off this edge a little bit so it looks a little more like a chili. And I'm going to grab this anchor and pull it down. And I might even delete this anchor so that I get a more rounded chili. Okay, there we go. And here we go. Oh, maybe I'll delete that one too. You don't need a million anchors all over the place. There's also a smooth tool for the pencil if you push N. And what it does is if you draw along, it'll smooth those anchors out for you a little bit. All right, so I know that I want this to be red, so I'm going to make the inside red. The outside is still black. And then I'm going to select this inside shape. I want that one to be white inside. I want this one to be white inside, and I don't want any outline, so I'm going to get rid of the stroke. I don't want any outline, so I'm going to get rid of the stroke. And now I've just got white in there. And then with my pencil tool, I can, oh my, okay, I'm going to draw, woo, I struggle. All right, draw a little green, whatever that is there. And I want to make sure that I've got the inside, because I want the inside to be green. And now I've got the green chili thing. All right, I know you guys can do better than that. Oh man, I'm such a perfectionist. It's going to drive me nuts. So, okay, I'm going to take out that and take out, oh no, that was really bad. All right, stop playing, Rebecca. Whatever. Okay, there we go. All done. And I'm going to get rid of the red or the black outline here as well. So no outlines at all. So now I've got a chili pepper. I'm going to highlight that and Command G to group. Okay, Command G, or in your properties panel, group. Then I'm going to draw another one, but I need to show Miss S I can use a lot of tools. So let's look up a sombrero. Sombrero. Okay. And we want images. I want something super basic. So I'm looking at maybe this sucker here. I don't know. So it looks like it's made out of a circle. I'm going to do a really tacky version, okay? A circle and a triangle. So I'm going to get my polygon tool and click, click, and say I want 3 sides for a triangle. Bam. Got a triangle. No idea why that triangle is so freaking tiny, but there we go. Oh, nope, it's not a triangle, is it? So I'm going to add an anchor point. Bam. And then with my direct selection tool, so I should have drawn like a rhombus to begin with. A rhombus. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to go back to this anchor. I'm going to click on that to isolate it and round that off. Click on this to isolate it, round that sucker off. Click on this to isolate it, round off. Click on this to isolate, round off. And then put it over my sombrero. Let's put the little hat piece there. And let's see, I need a better yellow. So in my swatches, I don't know if you guys know this yet, but in the library, you can get all these different colors. Like skin tones is fun. Nature, where would there be yellows in nature? Maybe on the beach they've got some sand colors. All right, so I'm going to look for, oh, what's that? If I make the inside that kind of color with no outside, I'm going to make the other inside that kind of color. So the fill is yellow with no stroke. Okay, so now I've shown Miss S not that I can use shapes, but I need to show her that I also know either Unite in the Pathfinder, which I can find under the window menu, Pathfinder, if it's not anywhere to be seen, Pathfinder. And I could also just use the shape builder, which is this cloud over here. So shape builder, and I roll through. Now I've got one sombrero, but that sombrero looks pretty flat. And so I'm going to give it some texture and show Miss S I can use texture. So I'm going to go to effects, and way down at the bottom in Photoshop effects here, not Illustrator effects, but Photoshop effects, I'm going to go down to texture, and it pulls up this special piece here. So I can try all kinds of different grains, and then I can change the crack spacing so it's a little bit less. There we go. I kind of like that. It looks a little stucco-y, but it's got something going on there. Looks like a little bit of texture. Okay, so I'm going to say okay. So now I've put some texture in my sombrero, so it kind of looks like it's texturized. I might also show Miss S that I can draw an arc. I don't know where an arc would be on this sucker. There, maybe? That's not an arc. That's so bizarre. I don't think I know how to use the arc tool. I've never used it before. Maybe I don't want to use the arc. Maybe I just want to use a pencil. Maybe you drop a point or something. Nope, you don't drop a point. Okay, all right. So Miss S doesn't know how to use the arc tool. So I'm going to grab a pencil. And maybe just draw a line in there. I don't know what my original thinking was or what I was going to do with that. Just make it look a little bit more like a hat. Now I hate it. Okay, whatever. So there's my hat, my sombrero. Okay, so I got a sombrero. I showed her that I can use the pencil tool up here with the chili. I can use the fill tools. I can use some stylizing, some grain tools. I can combine shapes. I haven't shown her anything with the pen tool. Ugh, I don't know what else is something Mexican. I mean, it's not really Mexican. Maybe boots. I'm going to type in boots. And, okay, let's look at a boot here. Because if I open up a boot, maybe I can show Miss S that I know how to use the pen tool. So I'm going to come over, and I can either use the regular pen or the curved pen. And I'm going to just copy those lines. You know what would be even smarter than that? Is that if I went over here and I copied the image and came over here and pasted the image. Oh man, life's about to get easier here. I can make this boot thing smaller, and remember, I'm not going to do a great job right now because I just want to show you how to show off tools. I'm like, okay, I got to show Miss S that I can use the pen tool now. Whoa, okay. So I'm going to grab the pen tool, and I'm just going to click around. Like, I'm not even going to be careful at all because they won't see what I did with a pen tool in relationship to the actual boot. So then it doesn't really matter, does it? So let's get that pen tool. Now sometimes it'll start to get hard to see underneath, so I can go over to my properties and turn the opacity way down so I can see through it. Now I won't ever lose the boot that I was working on. See, I can still see the boot right here when it disappears a little bit because I turned the opacity down, and I found that in my properties panel, the one with all the sliders on it. Okay, so again, I'm not going to be very careful here. Let's just get this boot drawn. Okay, we'll worry about all the details if you were actually doing this for a project. But there, I just clicked, and moved around. And I want my boot to be brown, so let's find a brown. There we go, we got a cowboy boot, and I'm going to turn that opacity back up. So there's my brown. Oh, just kidding, I still got my pen tool. Remember, always go get your arrow when you're done. So now I've got a boot. All right. So I showed her I can use my pen tool. And I think I'm going to go to my layers And I'm going to lock this layer so that my boot doesn't move. Actually, better yet, I'm going to drop this carrot and just lock the boot. So I'm locking the boot so that I can go in here and copy the very bottom of the boot. I might go a little outside of it on purpose. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm creating that black piece of the boot with the heels and everything. Okay, so now I might turn that black. I could dial the opacity down a little bit. It doesn't look so creepy. So now go get your selection arrow. So now I've got a boot. I'm going to unlock it and group those together. So I'm just using my selection tool and drawing a box around it, and then I'm going to group it. So now you would probably go with your pencil tool and maybe draw in another line there that's black. I don't know. So draw in a line there, and then draw in some designs that go on the boot that make the boot cool, just like your reference. I'm not going to take the time to do that, but that's what you could do with your pen tool if you wanted to. So now I showed Miss S that I can use the shape builder. I can use the pencil. I can use shapes. I can use the pen tool. I can delete anchors. I can add colors. I can lock something in my layers. So I dropped it down. I locked the boot originally so that I could draw the heel on top of the boot out. Obviously, this is not perfect. I would go in and clean up that brown down there and all that good stuff. So I would click on the boot and just move that brown in there so that you can't see it. Okay. So all you can see is the black. So now I got the black outline of the boot and the boot. And so now let's talk about the pattern. So beautiful. Why do we use layers? I'm going to lock this layer. I'm going to add another layer. But watch me click on it and scoot it underneath because I want this to be the background layer. I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I don't know what a good Mexican color is. Let's use, oh no, we used green somewhere, so we can't use green. Let's use orange. There we go. Now we got all the colors. We got orange background. You know what? You guys have been doing this with your patterns, but I don't think I would do it at this stage. I think I would do it on my full wrapping paper. So I'm going to get rid of the background. And I'm just going to do the pattern. So select the whole dang thing. Oh, I have it locked. Select the whole dang thing and then go up to Object, Pattern, and Make. And now watch how I make this pattern. So this part is super important. I'm going to go over to the Pattern menu and I'm going to first say one by one. I don't want to see everything else flying all over the place. Then look right here, you can decide how big you want your tile to be. So maybe I want my tile to be 3 inches by 3 inches. And then see how my box changed colors? So first I've got my chili. I'm going to make my chili a hunk a lot smaller. I'm going to make my sombrero a hunk a lot smaller. Okay, and I'm going to make my boot a hunk a lot smaller. Uh-oh, it's not all grouped together. That's a big mistake. Okay, Command G to group that sucker. Now I'm going to make it a hunk a lot smaller. Okay, so now it's just about in this blue box, and I've got to use the whole blue box. I think I'm just going to lay chilies all the way across the box. So there, I'm going to spread them out a little, and I'm going to stagger them. Okay, let's move that one in there. So I'm just going to stagger 3, okay. Not doing a great job because I just want to show you how it's done. Okay, so there, and then there, and there. And see how it's falling off of it? It's okay. It's okay. So it can fall off of the piece and still make a good pattern. Okay, so I'm in here. Kind of filled that up. And then the sombrero. I don't know. Maybe I want to fix the angle on it and just put it in a couple of places. Kind of, but put it in places on purpose. And maybe you want the boot. I don't know where I want the boot. Oof, oof. If you hold shift down, you can keep it the way you want it. So maybe, I don't know what I want. I'm just going to bring the boot into different locations to fill in. All right, hopefully you guys are doing this on purpose. Please do it on purpose. Okay. Maybe I didn't need the extra layer of chilies down there, so I'll just delete those two and bring this in here, and bring this in here, and bring that in there. And then call it good. Maybe I don't want that. I want another boot here. So, okay, so I've got all these boots. I've got the hats. I've got everything. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to say done. And when I say done, then it's in my swatches. So now I've got the boot pattern in my swatches right there. Okay, so I can go back to my layers. And you guys are going to do this completely differently. You're going to add an artboard. So over here in Edit Artboards, when you click on it, you can click on the plus sign and add one. And this one, you want it to be 12 inches by 24 inches. Okay, so it's huge. I'm going to zoom out. Oh, whoops, I wanted it the other way. I wanted it 24 inches wide by 12 inches tall. So I'm going to scoot it up here. And then exit, because I don't want to play with artboards anymore, and get rid of that artwork there. So now is when I'm going to put my background on. So I've got my orange background, okay, and I'm going to go over to my layers, and I'm going to lock that one. I'm going to lock my old artwork. I'm going to add a third and final layer, and I'm going to draw one more line there, but this time I'm going to use my pattern swatch. So let me go find it. There it is, and bam, I got chili peppers and boots. So make sure that you, oh my gosh, that's a hot mess. Okay, so you can see since I filled up that pattern swatch so tightly in the box, that's what it did, is it just kept repeating them over and over again. So decide what you want your spacing to be. Take time, make it look perfect, because that is the toughest piece there. All right, so there we go. That would be my final wrapping paper. That is a hot mess to be sure, but there you go. All right, bye.